He's Ross Tucker, former NFL lineman, the Ross Tucker podcast, host of the new show Home and Home on radio.com app. Ross, thanks for joining us. Was there a play that will stand out 10 years from now from Super Bowl 54, good or bad?
Yeah, I think without question, Dan, to me, it's the throw to Tyreek Hill. I mean, totally turned the whole game around. If you think about it, the play before, Patrick Mahomes threw the ball short to a wide-open Tyreek Hill, who trapped the ball. They called it a catch. They overturned it. And I remember sitting there thinking, boy, this is just not Mahomes' night. I mean, it was the worst I'd ever seen him play. It was his worst game ever. At that point, 7 minutes and 13 seconds left in the game. They're down 20-10. And I'll give Andy Reid a lot of credit for the play call. They fooled Emmanuel Mosley, the young corner for the Niners. He bit up, vacated his zone. Tyreek Hill's wide open 40 yards down the field. And the Chiefs ended up scoring a touchdown after that. We all know what happened. But that was the play. I mean, that was the play of the Super Bowl by a lot.
What would we be talking about today if the Niners had won?
Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid both coming up small in the biggest moment. Because if the Niners had won, then the Chiefs wouldn't have scored that many points. Obviously, it was 20-10 with 7 minutes left. And we would have said, wow, Andy Reid, he's got all this talent, all this speed, yet he gets to the Super Bowl, can only score 10 points, can't get it done. And Patrick Mahomes, as good as he's been his first 2 years as a starter, he gets to the Super Bowl and plays his worst game ever. I mean, that would have been the conversation. Those guys would have had to live with that and wear that until they get back. And, that's the other thing, Dan. Everybody's talking about it, like, oh, this is the start of a dynasty. It's hard, man. I mean, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Dan Marino, they never got back again. They only ever got to the Super Bowl one time. So you don't know how long Mahomes and Andy Reid would have had to wear that if they weren't able to win.
Yeah, I started to wonder about the philosophy here. I thought the Niners had a great philosophy. I thought it was going to be run the ball, keep Mahomes off the field, and then put more pressure on him with every possession because now he's got to score touchdowns. The Niners didn't score touchdowns, and I thought that was going to come back and haunt them. It felt like they abandoned the run. It felt like they were getting a little smarter than they needed to, and you gave Mahomes that opportunity, and he took advantage of it. I know we like to credit, but we also love to criticize. If you look at the play calling with the 49ers, is it a big issue for you?
It's not. I would say the biggest issue I had from a play calling standpoint for the Niners was the end of the first half. Now, I don't mind him, Dan, not calling a timeout after they stopped the Chiefs at midfield, because at midfield, you don't know what your field position is going to be. I mean, I love to see the analytics on the score probability there, but the Chiefs almost downed the ball at the 1 yard line at that point. So if you call a timeout and you're Kyle Shanahan, you might be giving the Chiefs a better chance to score. What I didn't understand from a play calling standpoint was, okay, the ball went in the end zone. It's a touchback. You got the ball at the 20, a minute left, and you run on first and second down and huddle up. I just thought, how about just a short pass, a screen pass, Kittle or one of the running backs? Didn't really like that. I'm not as critical of Shanahan's play calling in the fourth quarter as some other people are because, they were open. Chris Jones tipped one pass. Garoppolo missed one pass. Emmanuel Sanders was wide open, after they got behind. They did have some runs that were successful, but, that's one of those, Dan, where if he runs it on first and second down on both those series, and then third down they throw it is incomplete, Kyle Shanahan's too conservative, just like he was at the end of the first half. If Garoppolo hits those throws or Chris Jones doesn't get his hands on two of them, I think we're all singing a different tune.
Talking to Ross Tucker, Westwood One analyst, and the Ross Tucker podcast, also host of the new show Home and Home. Yeah, but you also had John Lynch, the GM, up in his box, who is signaling for a timeout. So it's not like, unless he thought, man, that's weird. He's not going to let Jimmy try to get us in field goal range there. This is John Lynch, the GM, saying, let's call a timeout here. So there was a disconnect between what John Lynch thought they should do and what Kyle Shanahan thought they should do.
Yeah, and I disagree with John, and I agree with Kyle in that instance because when they're punting at the 49-yard line and you don't know what your field position is going to be and you still have 3 timeouts, I'm not calling timeout there because – it's almost gotten to be like arena ball, Dan, where you used to think a minute and a half, oh man, this half is over. Now it's like sometimes both teams get the ball another time. And I think Shanahan looked at it and said, if they pin us down at the 1 or 2 and we go 3 and out, me calling a timeout is just giving Andy Reid and the Chiefs a better chance to score here. So I understand John Lynch is a defensive player originally and everybody feeling that way. But I'm pretty confident that if you looked at the probability to score in that situation, that it was more likely the Chiefs would score at the end of the half than the Niners. What doesn't make sense is, okay, it's a touchback. You have it at the 20. You run it on first and second down. You're showing no faith in Garoppolo at all. And then what was crazy about it, Dan, is they throw the ball to Wilson out of the backfield. They get 25 yards. They get to the 45-yard line, and then they throw the bomb to Kittle, which I thought was a good – first of all, it was an unbelievable throw by Jimmy G. Unbelievable. You know what? You talk about moments, Dan. If Kittle doesn't push off, if he just catches the pass, that might be what we talk about. We might talk about how the Niners scored at the end of the first half. That was a huge thing to go into halftime with the momentum, and Garoppolo made the throw of the night. It's just unbelievable how many different little things, including Kittle, just pushing off with his hand a little bit, makes so much of a difference.
Do you call that?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I thought that was passionate. I mean, first of all, he did it twice. Second of all, when you extend the hand, I mean, I know you're a basketball guy too, Dan. You can kind of put your elbow there, or you can use your hip, or maybe even put your arm up there. But when you push and extend the hand clearly, they're taught to throw the flag. I thought it was a good call. I thought the officials had a good night. Now, there was one time where Jimmy G got rocked helmet to helmet in the third down, the fourth quarter, that I could not believe they didn't throw the flag. But other than that, I'm glad that the officiating was not a major storyline.
Good to talk to you as always, Ross. We appreciate your time during the season, and we'll be checking in with you again. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me as always, Dan.
That's Ross Tucker, former NFL lineman, and his new show, Home and Home, on radio.com. That's the radio.com app.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.